Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ramadan Reminders with ReviveFM. I'm your host, Mubashar Latif, coach and trainer of NLP and hypnosis. I'm a radio presenter on ReviveFM 94.0 FM with my weekly show on every Tuesday at 3 to 4, which is called The Mindset Show. So do tune in for that. Just going to be sharing some Ramadan reminders today, inshallah. My dear sisters and brothers of other mothers, you find many times that many of you may be at a point where you find life isn't going forward. And that you might think you're continuously going through those patterns, going through the motions, going through the continuous cycle, the continuous behavior day in, day out. And that's okay. It really is okay, because if where you are right now, that's okay. But just know that you have a choice to move forward. Because often you will find that you are stuck in the same boat. You are stuck in life not moving forward. You find that whenever you fail, you cannot actually go forward. You find that any mistakes you make, when they laugh at you, when they joke at you, when they put you down, and when you have the inner voices inside, they tell you you are not good enough, you are not worthy. You take those failures as the limits of your capability. But what if that wasn't just the limit of your capability? What if that limit was that failure, that no matter how hard you tried, was actually a sign from Allah Ta'ala for you to expand and go beyond those boundaries, to push those boundaries? Because the boundaries that you set for yourself are set by when you were as a child, when you were younger, and when they laughed at you. And then you set those boundaries and you thought that that's all you're worth. That's all you're able to do. That's your limitations. Only to find that you are then better. Only to find that that's or hope or dream for better. But then you go through life, and then you go through university or college, and then you go through work, and then you go through the rest of life. And you think that that's all you're capable of, because every time you try taking a step forward in your business, in your career, or you try in your relationship, or increase your wealth, or improve your health, then every time, my dear listeners, you are then falling back into those patterns, falling back into that cycle of and that thoughts and those thought patterns that you had as a child, that you weren't good enough, that you weren't worthy, when you were bullied in the playground. And then as a result, my dear listeners, when you have that, then that is what you hold on to, and they become your beliefs and your values. Yes, your core of your belief is Islam, is Ashhadu la ilaha illallah, is wa Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That is the core of your belief. But your beliefs on the day-to-day, how you structure your day, how you do things, how you go forward in your life, how you meet people, how you greet people, those beliefs, those values, those limiting beliefs that you tell yourself, those negative emotions that you hold you back, those are what hold you back, and they, or not just hold you back, but they determine you going forward. They shape how you look at life. And where do they come from? Those are regular thoughts in your head, and they come from continuous actions and continuous behavior, and that's what you believe about yourself, that you are only worthy as such. This is all you are able to do. You cannot do anything else beyond this. This is your capability. This is your limitation. This is all who you are. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made you for. And that's it. You are not worthy of achieving anything more. You are not able to achieve anything more, but only to find that, is that really the reality? Is that really the reality, that you will live in those thunderstorms? You will live in that heavy rain? You will live in that downpour? Were you not meant to have any sunshine or longer prolonged periods of sunshine? Are you always meant to get drenched and hit by that storm? Is that all your fate and your kismet and your destiny is? Or is it? And there's so much more to that, my dear listeners. My dear sisters and brothers of other mothers, what we don't realize, and what you don't realize, is that every individual has potential. And let's say your potential is the size of your house, or the size of your street, or the size of your whole area where you live, or your city, or your country even. Let's say your potential is that big. Let's magnify it out to that big, or even bigger. Why then are you taking your potential to a size of a sheet of A4, a sheet of paper, and saying that's all you're worthy of? Yes, we have a box, we have a potential, we are not infinite. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is infinite, the first and the last. Awwalu wal akhiru. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the human mind, the brain, which is far superior, far powerful, far technologically advanced than any smartphone that you have, any technology that you have. And as a result of that, when we sometimes fall into the trap, and many of us fall into the trap, I myself have always as well, as we are human beings, we forget that we are beyond our potential, we are, or rather, beyond our limitations. Because our limitations are only the limitations that we place on ourselves. Yes, it's all around us, right? Your parents, your children, your kids, your siblings, your teachers, your boss, the economy, the this, the that, your health, your XYZ, but the doctor told you this. But my dear sisters and brothers of other mothers, when they have told you that, or when they have held you back, then you are holding yourself back. And then you say, right, you take that limitation, that belief that the doctor said, and that's why I have this illness. Yes, that may be true for many, but for a lot of illnesses, a lot of health conditions, if you now start telling yourself the opposite, and you turn it around and say, I can do this, I can achieve this, I'm far superior than this. And that is not ego. Ego is beyond. Ego is when you don't need help of others. Ego is when you say you are far better and you are beyond such help. You don't need that help. Yes, you may not need that help, but that help is beneficial when you need it. But then you come out of that box that you've put yourself in, because that box, you have set the boundaries. Because until you allow them to impact you and put you down and throw stones at you and say this and whatever they're saying to you, that's then going to hold you back. And you are deciding how big that box is. And not just how big that box is, but you are deciding if you go to the edge of that box and try pushing those boundaries and opening that box and making it wider. Or if you start closing that box. Or if you, no matter how big that box is, but you just stay in the middle or in a corner or in some part of that box without even exploring the rest of the box. Like now with the current times, we have social distancing 2 meters apart. It seems like automatically you've already put that mental barrier all around you already. Not 2 meters, maybe even longer. And you are staying in those limitations that you have placed on yourself. And this, my dear listeners, the majority of people are in this, is what we call a fixed mindset. Your mind is vast. It is big. It is huge. Yet you can then turn it around and it can go to what is the growth mindset. So when you fail, when you don't achieve something you want to in a way you want to, or within a time span, which is what we term as failure, then you can then, in with a growth mindset, you now take that as a learning, as a chance to grow. How can we grow from this? How can you learn from this? What can I take from this? What is this allowing me to do? Because we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never put you in a situation and never place a burden on you greater than you can bear. So if you are in this situation, the question is, why are you in this situation? What are you meant to learn? What are you meant to grow? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, Surah Ar-Ra'd, Surah number 13, Ayah number 11, and we will not change what's around you until you change what's within you. My dear listeners, my dear sisters and brothers of other mothers, you have all the resources to achieve, and that growth mindset where you start exploring, you're pushing boundaries, you start questioning, not just saying, oh, this is all I am. You start saying, how else can I do this? You start asking questions, open-ended questions. How else can I do this? Who else do I know? We live in the information age which allows us to have information at our fingertips, at our smartphone. You just tap in anything to Google and you've got everything. You've got the information. So there's endless things you can read, you can listen to, you can watch for free even, at low cost, without doing any courses or training or traveling for a long time or to far distances or paying a lot of money to do some courses or train and learn from people like the traditional olden days. You can now at your fingertips, so there's absolutely no excuse not to have such at your fingertips, right? You have that all. There's no excuse not to access that information. There's no excuse not to go out there and go for a walk or go for a jog or do whatever if you need to improve your health, right? If you haven't done anything, you've got no stamina, start going for a walk. Do small things, baby steps, measurable, things that you can do, things that you can slowly build on. Because they say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. What is that first step that you are going to take today in order to start moving forward? Your life will never ever change overnight. But you can make that decision overnight to turn things around and start following on that decision. And start expanding that box outside that fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And start growing, start learning, start expanding, start exploring and adventure, excitement. My dear listeners, my dear sisters and brothers of other mothers, Jazakallah khairan for listening, and inshallah ta'ala, until next time, take care. Assalamu alaikum.
ReviveFM
94.0 on the radio,
on your mobile
and online.